So Bitcoin just dropped below 70k again. And it's not just because of crypto, it's because of geopolitics. We've got rising tensions in the Middle East, a massive $14 billion options expiry coming, and suddenly the entire crypto market is on the edge. Ethereum is falling, XRP is slipping, and yet behind the scenes, institutional money is quietly flowing back in. So the question is this just another shakeout, or is something big about to happen? So let's break it all down. Today we're covering why Bitcoin just dropped under 70k, the macro chaos driving crypto right now, the hidden institutional movements nobody's talking about, what happens with Ethereum and XRP next, and the key levels that could decide where we go next, because right now, this market is at a critical turning point. Bitcoin is currently hovering around the high 60Ks after dropping roughly 2 or 3% in the last 24 hours. And the trigger, of course, it is geopolitics. According to reports, Bitcoin slid to around $67,000 after Iran rejected a US proposal aimed at de-escalating conflict, adding fresh uncertainty to global markets. At the same time, broader crypto markets followed, Ethereum down around 2 to 4% and XRP slipping close to 3%. As noted by Barron's, the drop happened despite signs of temporary de-escalation, showing just how fragile sentiment is right now in the crypto space. And I think this is the key, because crypto isn't trading like a risk-on asset anymore. It's trading like a macro-sensitive asset. But this is not just the whole story, because something else is happening today that could make the volatility even worse. And that is, today we're seeing the expiration of roughly 14 billion in Bitcoin options, and events like this really matter a lot. Large expiries tend to increase volatility, trigger liquidations, and push price towards maximum pain levels. And analysts are already warning that this expiry is contributing to market instability right now. So what we're seeing isn't just panic, it's just, I would say, a perfect storm. Macro uncertainty, options expiry pressure, and the weak short-term sentiment that we've been seeing. And this is exactly why Bitcoin can't hold that 70k level right now. So let's zoom out, because this is where things get more interesting. Crypto is being driven by global macro forces again. We're talking about rising geopolitical tensions, oil price uncertainty, and military escalation risks. Even traditional markets are reacting. The S&P 500 has been dropping, the Nasdaq volatility, as I'm sure you've seen, has been rising, and crypto is following these markets. According to analysts, prolonged conflict and economic instability are unsettling crypto traders, especially as energy prices and global liquidity come into question. And this matters more than I think people realize, because Bitcoin often thrives in markets where we have good liquidity, stability, and risk appetite as well. And right now, all three of these are under a lot of pressure. However, while retail traders are panicking, smart money appears to be doing the exact opposite. So here's where things flip. Despite short-term volatility, institutional money is coming back into the market. Earlier this month, Bitcoin ETFs saw over 600 million in inflows in a single day, breaking a multi-week outflow streak. And it wasn't just Bitcoin. We're seeing this across multiple ETFs. Ethereum, Solana, and XRP fund demand is also increasing. Expansion into other altcoin exposure is happening. And even more interestingly, BlackRock has already launched a staked Ethereum ETF, combining yield with regulated exposure, which is a huge deal because it signals a shift from speculation to yield and infrastructure investing. And according to VanEck's CEO, this could be a sign of life for the market after months of weakness. So while prices have been dropping, demand might actually be rising. And that divergence, that's where opportunities are often created in the crypto market. So let's talk about altcoins, because they're telling an important story. Ethereum is currently under pressure. Short term, it's got weak on-chain activity, declining fees, and bearish derivatives positioning right now, but structurally it's still evolving. With staking ETFs now live, Ethereum is increasingly being positioned as a yield-bearing institutional asset. Meanwhile, XRP is caught somewhere in the middle. It's moving with the broader market, but lacks a strong independent catalyst right now. From a technical perspective, Bitcoin has resistance at 70k and a key support, as we know, down towards 60k, and we're currently just consolidating and chopping sideways. We're basically just stuck in a range right now, and until Bitcoin breaks out in either way, altcoins are likely to continue to lag and stagnate as we've been seeing. Right now, the crypto market is being pulled in two directions. On the one side, we've got the macro fear, the geopolitical instability, and all the short-term volatility we've been seeing in traditional markets, pulling it down. But on the other side, we have got all this institutional inflow happening despite all the tensions, ETF expansions, and long-term adoption Infrastructure is continuing to increase, and this creates what analysts describe as a kind of tug of war in the market. Short-term traders are still bearish, but long-term investors are accumulating, and that tension is exactly why we're kind of chopping sideways right now, I would say. So the big question is, what's going to happen next? Because here's the reality, crypto is no longer just a hype-driven market. It's now deeply connected to traditional markets. Global politics, institutional capital flows, financial market structure, they're all going to play a part. And right now we're in a transition phase. If macro conditions do start to stabilize, Bitcoin could reclaim that 70 to 75k area and push higher pretty quick. But if tensions escalate, we could see more downside, continued volatility, and extended consolidation. So going forward, make sure you watch these things closely because they will impact the markets. Geopolitical developments, this is probably the biggest thing right now. Obviously, the war in Iran is causing massive volatility in markets. ETF inflows and outflows, Bitcoin holding above that 65k area, the options market positioning, the expirations we're going to see, and Ethereum institutional demand that seems to be increasing. So right now, this doesn't look like a market top. It looks like a market under pressure, and historically, that's usually where the biggest opportunities have been created. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for daily crypto updates and let me know in the comments, do you think Bitcoin is heading lower or is this just another shakeout before the next move up?